There's many people that as soon as they step off that cruise ship or as soon as they get home, they have certain regrets about what they've done on that cruise ship. Anyway, we're going to talk about it. I've got a list of 20 or 21 items of people's regrets. I compiled these points through a very unofficial and unscientific polling through Reddit and Facebook. And they're just what people are telling me, or the people who are willing to speak out have told me about what the regrets are. Anyway, my name's Stuart. This is Ship to Shore Cruise News. Let's get into that list. Well, this is in no particular order of popularity. So we're going to start with the first item on my list, and that's going to the art auction. Apparently, a lot of people have regretted going to the art auction for various reasons. The most popular reasons is that it ends up being drawn out and a lot longer than they had expected. And they found it's very difficult to get out of there once you're sitting down. Also, with the free champagne that you're given, it makes those purchases a little too easy sometimes. And they do feel like there's a lot of high-pressure salespeople in there. I've been in an art auction. I thought it was a lot of fun. The time flew by, but I agree, it was a lot longer than I had expected. I almost spent a lot of money that day, and you know what? I kind of regret not. It would have been some very interesting prints up on the wall. Anyway, moving on to the second item on my list is going to be solo cruising. There are people who regret going on a solo cruise just because they're there to get away from everything, to get away from people, just to lie around and be served. They just find that's not the case on a cruise. They want to get away from everything and everybody. But on a cruise, they find they're always in a situation where they have to interact with other people. And that's why they didn't go on the cruise. The next item on the list is buying the portrait package. They find it way too expensive. People go and they'll pay the portrait package and they'll get some really nice portraits at the end of the cruise line. But they take a look at the price of it and they just find it's just not worth it. A lot of people comment that it's just as easy for them to carry their own high quality camera or half decent camera and get people to take pictures of them while they're on their cruise ship. That's what I do. I take a lot of selfies as well. The fourth item on my list is too much rum punch on those excursions. I know I've had my share of rum punch on excursions and they sure go down good. They're very sweet and they taste real good. And they go straight to your head. There's a lot of people who say that's the quickest way you're going to get drunk when you're out on an excursion, and I believe it. The sixth item on my list is too many seminars on Alaskan cruises. I was amazed how many people said that they just saw too many seminars on those cruises. They did find them very interesting, but they spent so much time in these seminars that they missed a lot of the natural beauty of the Pacific coast from Vancouver, British Columbia, all the way up to Alaska. So remember that on your next Alaskan cruise. Don't spend your whole time inside in seminars. Spend some time outside taking a look at the beauty going by. The seventh item on this list, spa tours. There's a lot of people who regret taking that spa tour. They find that, yeah, it's interesting. You get to see the spa. And then at the end, there's a high pressure sales pitch to buy a package, buy this product. If you buy today, you get this much off. And there's a lot of people who don't expect that when they take these spa tours. I've taken the spa tour. I've enjoyed it. I'm curious to see what the prices are. I have bought packages at the spa. I have actually had a spa suite as well, which was great, being able to go into the thermal rooms whenever I wanted. But there's a lot of people who regret spending that time to do that little tour. The eighth item on this list is being loyal to one cruise line just because of the perks. There's a lot of people out there who will only go to one cruise line because they want those points, they want those perks. Oh, if I get one more perk, I get those strawberries that are covered in chocolate. Ooh, I'll get a second bag of laundry done for free. I know I do want to stay loyal to certain cruise lines just so I can get more points. But there's a lot of people out there that say they feel like they're locked into one cruise line because of the point system. And they wish they had tried another cruise line earlier because they're finding they've got points on one cruise line, then they take a cruise on another cruise line, and they actually enjoyed that one better. The 9th item is excursions. People have a lot of regrets about excursions. People regret not buying excursions at all and trying to wing it, and then they end up getting lost. People regret not buying excursions when they have a chance before the cruise leaves, and then they end up picking something else that they don't want to do because the one they wanted is sold out. And that happened to me on my last cruise. So book those excursions early, the ones that you want. And if you're half thinking about it, please book an excursion. That's my advice. Or book something to do. Don't just leave yourself sitting till the last minute to wing it. Most likely you're not going to have a great time. Number 10 on my list is the onboard bingo. Everybody's interested in that bingo. You can win that free cruise. You can win a lot of money too. Depending on the cruise ship, you could win $5,000. A lot of people regret buying the bigger packages of bingo packs and buying the bingo dabbers and buying the extra raffle tickets. That can add up quite quickly to a few $100s in one sitting if you're not sure, if you're not aware of what's going on. I'm not too sure if they do this anymore because I don't go to these events anymore, but buying coupons for the port stores. So when you're on a cruise ship, they'll have a little seminar about, hey, we're going to be in port tomorrow. These are the stores. These are the places you go. I've only been to one of these once, and you could buy a book of coupons for those stores. There's a lot of people who buy them. I did. I don't know. I felt like I was throwing away money anyway. I would have spent it on something else. But I thought if I used half of them, it would be a good deal. And there's a lot of people who buy them. They walk around that little port, and they find that they're just useless to them. And those are the people who feel like they've been ripped off or it's just not worth the money. 12th item on my list is packing too much clothes. A lot of people will listen to this and go, what do you mean that's a problem, packing too much clothes? You can't pack enough. I've done both ways. I've done a 7-day cruise with carry-on luggage. I've done a 7-day cruise with a duffel bag packed full of clothes and I still didn't feel like I had enough. You've got to make that assessment for yourself. I'm sure a lot of first-timers make a mistake about enough or not enough. The 13th regret on my list is booking a room and letting the cruise line choose the room for you. This can be a good sail away promotion in some cruise lines where they'll say, hey, you just book a room and we'll choose it for you. It will be best available at the time you go. A lot of people have booked these and don't care and have no problem, and that's fine. There's some people who book them and they end up and the lifeboat's right outside the window or balcony, or they're right below the nightclub that's open till 2 a.m. or they're right above something else. The 14th item on my list is eating at the buffet only. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to just go, oh, I want something at the buffet tonight. And just do it over and over and over again. And it's so convenient and it's so easy because it's right there. There are so many people who just eat at the buffet and don't realize in some cases that there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 different venues that are included in the fare. Or they just forget about it and they don't eat at the main dining room or one of the other restaurants as well. And I'm not talking about the specialty restaurants that you have to pay for. The 15th item, and it's related to one I've talked about before, is spa products. There's a lot of people who regret buying the spa products. They try them out on the ship and maybe they've had too many rum punches. Who knows? Maybe it's just the experience. Maybe it's just the smell. They really enjoy, say, the creams or the lotions and they think they're great. And then when they get home, they really feel like they're not a very good product at all. And they regret spending the money on them. So there are people out there who regret buying those spa products. I did buy a spa product at once. It was a lotion for my hands. I liked it, but realistically, at the end of the day, I feel like I could have just bought something at the local pharmacy or some other store that would have been just as good. Number 16 on the item, and this is something I do not recommend ever doing, and that's flying into the port the day of embarkation, the day the ship leaves. So many people regret that. They find that they get there and they're super rushed, or all the transports from the cruise line are gone for the day. They've got to get some taxi or Uber or Lyft or what have you to get you to the port, and they're not even too sure they're going to make it. And some people, because of delays of the airline, don't make it at all to their port. And if they book their flight themselves, they're out of luck. The only way you're going to be in luck is if the cruise line had booked the flight for you. Then they'll have different options for you when you get to that port. 17th item on my list is taking a 3 or 4 day cruise during spring break. Yeah, some people want to get away and have a good time. Then they go on spring break and the ship is full of college students out having a good time. There's parties on all night long. There's people running up and down the hallways. There's people who are just way too drunk. There are people who've had too much and they're sitting on the floors. Perhaps they're making a mess. Who knows? But there's some cruises that people have taken and it's just been a disaster for them, for their experience, just because it's been spring break. So be wary of the cruise that you're going on and when you're going on, to make sure there's no special events like that happening. Number 18 on this list, sleeping too much, taking too many naps. A lot of people regret having that 4 p.m. nap. A lot of people regret sleeping in. 19th item on this list is there's a lot of people, myself included, regret not bringing sunscreen, not thinking you needed it. I'll be okay. I'm only in the sun for a short period of time. Yeah, I've had some nasty sunburns. I've seen even worse sunburns. I burnt my scalp one year. Oh, that was horrible. I was sitting cross-legged, crisscross applesauce on the deck of a catamaran for a couple of hours, and the inside of my thighs went beet red. Oh, I tell you, I've never had a sunburn there before, and that was super uncomfortable. So if you're going somewhere tropical, somewhere where there's going to be sun, bring sunscreen, please. You're only helping yourself. The 20th item is... and I can see this. Some people regret buying that drink package for more reasons than one. Some people regret buying it because they have to buy it for every adult in the room, or every adult has to buy it. And it turns out that the other person really doesn't drink much. So it ends up costing them more money than what they would have spent if they just bought each drink individually. Some people regret buying the drink package because they end up not drinking as much as they thought. Some people regret buying the drink package because it let them drink way too much as well. When you're buying the drink package, really think about how much you're going to spend and how much you're going to drink, and go from there. And the last item, number 21, is getting way too drunk. Yes, there's people who regret getting way too drunk. They'll get way too drunk on Embarkation Day and they'll be out before the sail away party. They'll be drunk every day and then the evening's lost to them. They'll get so drunk and they'll be hungover and they'll miss excursions the next day. Some people get drunk and buy that $300 massage only to pass out during the first 5 minutes and not get to really enjoy it at all. People getting way too drunk and just spending way too much money at the casino. Some people just keep getting those drinks coming to them one after the other while they're sitting there playing, whether it's at a table or a slot machine. They just spend too much money gambling. And also, some people regret getting way too much because they end up having an encounter with someone else. Maybe it's something they weren't thinking about doing when they went out, and maybe it's someone that they didn't want to do it with. Also, there's always that walk of shame in the morning. Of course, no one else will know it's a walk of shame, but it'll be a stagger down the hallway trying to figure out what floor am I on. Now, what I found is that when I'm going to do a cruise and I want to make sure I enjoy everything on it, I want to make sure I have no regrets, and I found that the best thing you can do is to